Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Can you hear?
Yes, Mataji.
Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadadi Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sita Padakamalam Sri Guru Nuvashnavan Shasi Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitansha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopicha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupaccha Kripa Sandaccha Evacha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Mundi Ki Jai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namaho Vishnupada Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaho Vishnupada Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Bol Hari Bol Mataji Hari Bol
Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. It's delightful and heartwarming to see Vaishnava devotees joining together in devotion. Hare Krishna Shyamla Mataji Danda Pranams. Hare Krishna Vishnu Priya Mataji Danda Pranams. And Hare Krishna Shani Mataji Danda Pranams. And Suguna Mataji Danda Pranams. And Nakendra Kanya Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you all.
We have 6 people.
Yes, yeah. Let's start by bowing down to Srila Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna. He spreads the teaching of devotion all around. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to Nitai Gaurachandra. All glories to Lord Jagannath. And let's our voices raise in jubilation, glorify victory of Sri Sri Radha Shyam Sundar. So, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Vedovyasa Priya Swaminiti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So thank you all for kindly joining this morning session. This is my 7th session to this Bhishma Stuti. Now let's start. Sri Bhishma Dev ki Sri Bhishma Dev ki
Jai.
Jai. So everyone awake, right?
Jai.
So the last session we was that the Rajasuya Yajna. He was helping Yudhishthir Maharaj perform the Agra Puja. Do you remember? Last session we were
Yes.
talk about the Rajasuya Yajna. The word Agra means first.
Right.
So therefore the older brother is called Agraj, and the younger brother is called Anuj or Anuja, Agraha. So before the start of the Rajasuya Yajna, the most respectable person in the assembly is supposed to be worshipped. Now there was a discussion whom to worship, because there was a Dronacharya and so many exalted personalities, demigods were present. Of course, Sri Krishna was present, Bhishma Dev was present. Yudhishthir Maharaj went and asked Bhishma Dev, who is the personality whom I supposed to worship?
Krishna.
Bhishma Dev, without a second thought, said, of course, this is Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajobisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvarobisan prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Atma maya is from the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 6. Ajobisan, although he is Aja, he is unborn, right? Unborn. Avya Atma, indestructible. Bhutanam, Ishvaropisan, he is the Lord of all that exist. Still, Sambhavami, Atma Maya, he still appears by his own Yoga Maya Shakti, internal potency. Sometimes, Avijanandi Mudha, Mam Anushim Tanumasritam is from the Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 11. Sometimes Krishna could be just seen as a mere mortal and judged that he is just a human being. We don't have to worship him. But Bhishma Dev mentions these points. Hey Yudhishthir Maharaj, Krishna who is present in this assembly is the source of all that exists. Without a second thought, you must worship him. Immediately, Sahadev also stood up. Sahadev stood up and Mahabharata explains. He gave detailed reason as to why Krishna must be worshipped. And as soon as he said that, all the demigods said, Sadhu, Sadhu, very good, very good. Sahadeva, your explanation is so good. You have given scriptural reason why Krishna must be worshipped. This is very nice. Everyone was in agreement to this, that Krishna must be worshipped first. But there was only one person in the assembly who had a problem, as we all know. That was Shishupal. Shishupal Mahasaya. Yeah. Now, Shishupal did not have a problem to have Yudhishthir Maharaj as the Visva Samrata. That was not his concern. He did not have a problem with that. He did not have any problem with Yudhishthir Maharaj being appointed to perform the Rajasuya Yajna. That was not his concern. Shishupal did not have a problem with the Pandavas. His only problem with Sri Krishna. And this was an eternal trouble that he had. He just could not stand Krishna. Kamat, Veshat, Bhayat, Krodhat, Yathap, Bhakti, Sware Manaha. Yudhishthir, our Sripata Narada Muni explains, Shishupal is the embodiment of Dveshat. Kamsa Maharaj is the embodiment of Bhaya. And in this way, all of them, because of Abhinivesh, because of absorption, they ultimately reach perfection. Because Krishna does not see the mood in which you are observed. He observes us in whatever mood we are in. If we are observed, we have Abhinivesh. That Abhinivesh, that absorption, purifies the intention. So, Shishupal is like the epitome, the personification of envy. And as Acharyas described, envy means no vacancy. Envy. Envy. No vacancy. In spiritual circles. It is something that could not be employed in Krishna's service. Narottama Thakur says, Kama Krishnara Pane Krota Bhakta Dvishe Jane. That if someone has unfulfilled desires in the form of lust, Kama, that could be Krishna Rupane. One could get into Grahashramam and offer children to Krishna as service, and if someone has Krodha, that could be also be used in Krishna's service as Bhakta Daishijane. Someone who speaks against the devotees, we should stand up and use our anger. And Lobha should be in hearing and chanting about Krishna like that. But however, Envy cannot be used in Krishna's service. It must be destroyed. Even in the Ramayana we see, when Hanuman was flying over the ocean, he had to sit tested by Mount Mainak, by Simhika, by Surasa, and so on and so forth. And the embodiment of envy in this whole struggle are cut into pieces of Hanuman. But when one of the demons opened her mouth and said, Hanuman, you have to enter my mouth. Hanuman became bigger and she became bigger, and Hanuman became bigger and she became bigger, and Hanuman became bigger, and the condition was no one can cross over the ocean unless they enter my mouth. So when her mouth was 80 feet up in the air, Hanuman became a small mosquito and he entered her mouth and left. However, when the other demonies was trying to hold Hanuman by this shadow of this flight, which represent envy, to hold on to somebody's flaws, Hanuman cut through, because that cannot be used in Ramachandra's service. So in this case also, Shishupala had so many envy against the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. He had so many things, to a list of things that he hated Krishna for. And it is so fascinating. He stood up in this assembly of all respectable people and he spoke. Krishna, you are saying that Agra Puja should go to the Krishna? This Krishna? Oh, sorry, this Krishna? And everyone said yes. And Shishupala started opening his foul mouth. Vachanam Sheelam Akhyati. As soon as someone opens their mouth, you can see what is there in their heart. If someone wants to know how much of a good devotee they are, a very good litmus test, some chemical test, is to see the nature and the quality of the consciousness of the word spoken. What is in the heart will come through the mouth. His Grace Radhesham Prabhu was telling is a Gigo principle. Good in, good out. Garbage in, garbage out. So what comes out has been fed in. What is in the heart, what is in the mind, is what comes through the tongue. We may have a list of things to complain and blame and criticize and find faults about. That's the garbage in which is garbage out. So, Vacho Vekam is the first principle. So he went on. What Varna is this Krishna from? Does anyone know? Well, he is making a very good significance philosophical scriptural point. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, I am not of an Varna or Ashrama. My identity, I am simply the servant of the servant of the servant of Sri Krishna, the Lord of Gopis. So Krishna is transcendental to Varna and Ashrama. He doesn't belong to a certain Varna. So Shishupal is making a right point. What Varna is Krishna? Does anyone know? Well, no one knows. And he started making blasphemous comments. And as this was going on, Bhishma got up. Shishupala, you should control your tongue. Do you know who you are speaking about? Krishna is Bhagavan. Do you know what he did when he was 6 days old? Eyidam paramam. What is that? Eyidam paramam. Etat putana moksham Krishnasya vakam atpudam. Shrunuya Sridhaya Martyo Govinde Lavate Ratim. Anyone who hears Putana Moksha hears about Krishna delivering Putana. Govinde Lavate Ratim. He gets pure love for Krishna. This is what Krishna did at the age of 6 days old. Hey Shishupala, do you know what he did dancing on the hoods of Kaliya? Do you realize he lifted Giriraj, go over to which Shishupala had a counter argument? He said, after all Krishnas from the village, and in the village people have the habit of making a mountain for a molehill. They make the exaggerated thing. He may have lifted some stone from the floor, and by then they have fabricated and added so many mirch masala by saying, oh no, he lifted a hill, that too on the left hand, that too tip of this little finger on the left hand and sheltered the whole. This is all too much. And even if that is true, you think I can't do? Was what Shishupal asked. He said, but what about Kalia? He danced on the hoods of the snake. He said they are all making it up. He may have just swam across the water and found some water snake. But then, by then they have made a story that he had 1,000 hoods and they were all hissing out. When he danced on the top of them and gave the imprint and then he left, it's all too much. And even if this is true, you think I can do it? This is the nature of envy. This is the nature of envy. What is the difference between jealousy and envy? It is very subtle thing. Jealousy means he has it. I wish even I had it. And envy means if you cannot have it, how dare he has it? It's more harsh a sentiment. In India, when you travel in cars, sometimes you have trucks. And behind the trucks, you have these different slogans written. Horn, okay, please. Have you seen? But there was one slogan that stood out. It's a standout slogan out of the list. What that is? If you ever want to burn in your heart, it shouldn't be out of envy. It should be like a lamp. It should be like a candle. Give light and knowledge to others. And in that attempt, if we have that to burn down like a candle, so be it. So Shishupal represented all these qualities. And Bhishma Dev stood up and he started speaking. But Shishupal went on. There was overriding principle. He started speaking over the principle of Bhishma Dev. And when Shishupal started speaking, on the other side, Bhimasen was getting restless. And he was literally looking where his club is, because he wanted to smash Shishupal to pieces. And Arjuna was getting restless. And Bhishma Dev was looking, and through his eyes and through his hands, he is trying to pacify Bhimasen. It will be done. Don't worry. But Shishupal went on a very important principle. How many faults does Krishna have? 4, 5. Mataji's Prabhuji's, how many faults does Krishna have?
100.
Krishna?
No, the Shishupala.
My question is, how many faults does Krishna have?
Faults?
None, right?
Question is...
Krishna has no faults, right?
Right, there's no faults.
How many faults could Shishupal count in Krishna?
Many.
Unlimited, yeah. The condition was when he touched 100 stride, that's when he will be killed. And Shishupal, he had a PhD in mathematics. He knew to count. So what he would do at different instances, he would go count 97, 98, 99 and then stop. And another instance again, go 1, 2, 3 because the condition was 100 straight. So he was a very good, he could count really well, innumerable faults. And that too, he would never, get rusty and make notes with different color pens and wait and look through the notes. He never did that. He could go on 1, 2, 3, 4. He was like a Visha Pravaha. This was a flood of poison. Tasmin Mahan Mukhe Rita Madvish Charitram Piyush Shashesh Sahasrarita. Shastra describes how do you identify as sadhu. Tasmin Mahan Mukhe Rita Madvish Charitram. From these lotus lips, rivers of Harikatha flow unlimitedly in unlimited directions at all time. This is sadhu. And anyone who is not doing this is asadhu. Shastra describes what to speak of Shishupal. It was not Madhubhish. Charitram. It was a Vishabhish Charitram. He went on speaking about the false, the poisonous flow of false finding. And what did Krishna do? They looked at Krishna and Krishna was smiling. He was just so relaxed. In comparison to how we respond, how many falls do we have? Do we have do we have an estimate? How many lifetime we have taken? How many falls we have in how many different? And karmana manasa vacha. Through thoughts, word and deed. You see Ajamil, when he was leaving, he had 4 Vishnu Dudas and 3 Yamatudas. Why 3 Yamatudas, Matajis?
I don't know. I think why only 3?
Yamatudas is 1
to-
hour. Why 3 Yamatudas? Because 1 Yamatuda couldn't hold the number of sin that he had committed. So 1 Yamatuda was for thought, 1 Yamatuda for word, and 1 Yamatuda for action. Karmana, Manasa, Vacha. They had their own categories. They had divided department wise. In this way, they had split, and still they had a tough time to keep up. And why 4 Vishnu Tudas? Mataji's Prabhuji's, why 4 Vishnu Tudas?
So that they can protect him so he won't be dragged.
4 Vishnu Tuda means Narayana. Narayana. So Vishnu Tudas, 4 Vishnu Tudas. The Narayana name, they are just splitting. The 4 syllables of the holy name manifested as 4 Vishnu Tudas. So here Shishupal is on and on and on. He is finding innumerable faults in a person who is faultless and the person is relaxed. And we have innumerable faults, and if one fault is pointed out, Matajis, if we have innumerable faults and if one fault is pointed out, what happened? Garjandam Gajayantam Nijapuja Patalam Sobayantam Hatantam Deepayantam Tabayantam Tibibhuvi Tidijam Shepayantam Shipantam Krandandam Roshayandam Dishi Dishi Satatam Samharandam Barandam Vikshatam Purnayantam Karankarasha Shatrairihi Divya Simham Namami Jwalam Tum Sarvato Muham. How can he say? Is he faultless? So much learned from Krishna, so much learned from his personality. We have so many faults. If one fault is found, there are Acharya writes this, that we should go actually thank the person who is finding fault. Now it is very lofty situation. Maybe we are not there, but it's good to hear what they say. Whether we are not practice is good to know what the standard is. So you are so great, I have 50 fault. You could find only. Your vision is so purified. I actually have 50, but you are able to point only 2. Your vision is so pakka, so purified, and you are actually helping me find it. As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, one who finds faults in us, they are actually our best friend. We should keep such people around us. Now that we should practice it in our community, but not that we should take this as a message of the session, but we are just making passing comment to the past time. As everyone is getting restless, seeing Shishupala in the center, Bhishma Dev, he tells Bhima, you settle down, you see now what Madhava's chakra will do. Look at what Keshava's chakra does. The Mahabharata uses the word Madhava. So let us stick to Madhava. Bhishma Dev says, now you will see the power potency of Madhava's Sudarshan disc. And in front of everyone, Bhishma Dev starts speaking the history of Shishupala. He explains how the king of Cheda province, he gets this child called Shishupala. And now Shishupal at birth had 4 hands. Don't worry, not like a Vishnu Tudha. They were a little abnormal, 4 hands, and he had 3 eyes. And what do children do? How do they sound when they are born? Matajis, Prabhujis.
They cry.
Yes, they cry.
Cry, son.
Yes, they cry. But the Mahabharata describes when Shishupal was born, he was braying like a donkey. You know how to make nice donkey?
Right.
Who's braying? Something come natural, right, Mataji? Something or worked. Something or natural, that is one talent I can call my own.
Unnatural.
Action. They do action like crying, but that is not real crying.
Okay, Mataji.
Obscene cry.
Yeah. The Denugasur. So he was braying like a donkey. And he had 4 hands and 3 eyes. And one old tribal lady, she came. She told her parents, don't worry. Take this child around to all your guests and the lap. By placing the whole lap, if these abnormal, inauspicious signs leave, that person is going to be the killer of the child. They went around placing the child, one after another. When Krishna came, as you know, he placed Shishupala on his lap. And immediately the 3rd eye disappeared and the 2 hands disappeared and Shishupala started crying like a normal child. Immediately they fell at the feet of Krishna and said, please don't kill him. Krishna said, no, this is the prarabdha. This is written. I must kill him. But I can't give you an allowance. I will kill him only when he commits offenses. 100 offenses straight. Then I will kill him. Parents said, thank you so much. They trusted that parenting ability. He will never touch 100. I promise you. Krishna said, all the best. The art of parenting. So they tried their best. But Shishupal naturally grew up with envy for Krishna. And we know how the story of Rukmini Haran. He just flamed his false ego more and more. So in this assembly, Bhishma, they have said, now he will go on. As soon as he crosses 100, you will see the power of Madhava's disc. And interestingly, why is the term 100? There is nothing to do with mathematics. It's not that Krishna had some attachment to 100, but the point is, after 100, Shishupala started blaspheming devotees like Bhishma Dev. Till 100, he was blaspheming Krishna. After that, he starts blaspheming Bhishma Dev, even great personalities like Bhishma, who are old and blind, have lost the power of discrimination, and we know how much Krishna loves his devotees. Sadavan Hridayam Mahyam Sadhunam Hridayam Tvaham Mat Anyate Na Jananti Naham Tepya Manak Api. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Srimad Bhagavatam, Aham Bhakta Pradadino, He Asvattantra Iva Jiva, Sadhubhir Grasta Hridayo, Bhakter Bhakta Janapriya, Canto 9, Chapter 4, Text 68-63, Bhagavatam. In Ambarish Maharaj Charitra, the pastime of Ambarish, the Supreme Lord says, I love my devotees so much that Sadhava Hridayam Mahyam, the sadhu lives in my heart. And sadhunam hridayam tvaham, I am their heart. Krishna could have said, the sadhu are my hand. Sadhus are my leg. Sadhus are my ear. But guess what? We can live without the hand. We can live without the leg. We can live without the ear. We can live without the eye. But we cannot live without our heart. So Krishna says, hridayam, they are my heart. I am their heart. Madanyatena janandi. They don't know anything apart from me. And I don't want to know anything apart from them. Bhagavan, Bhakta and Bhakti. The 3, that's all. So, when the blasphemy of Bhishma, they have begun. That's when Krishna invoked the Sudarshan Chakra and slipped through the throat of Shishupal. This was a laser surgery, not a drop of blood on the floor. Finished. Because the Supreme Lord knows if blood falls in that arena, it becomes inauspicious for performing the yajna. So they have to find another place, and the arrangement were made. So Krishna was very conscious of this fact. So Shishupal was killed, and the soul of Shishupal's body, as we know, entered the Supreme Lord's form. And the start of the seventh canto begins from there. Now the question could be, Krishna killed Shishupal. What kind of mercy is this? Out of 64 qualities of Krishna, Mataji, everyone can hear, right?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, in Bhaktira Samarit Sindhu, one of the qualities is Sheela. Rupa Goswami Partha describes Hatari Kati Dayaka. Hata means Hatari Kati Dayaka. What does the word Hata mean? Hata means to kill. So Hatari means to kill the enemy. Gati means destination. Dayaka, bestower, to give. Krishna is that merciful Lord who can even kill and give supreme benefit. Who is this world can go with a knife and kill someone else and say, I am doing it for his own good. Once you have killed him, he is not even alive. What good will you do for him? We are not able to keep people alive and do good to them. And he is Krishna who's Hatari Gati Dayaka. Even by killing, he can do good. Bhagavatam describes what to speak of Krishna. Let's come to Arjuna. The Bhagavatam describes the enemies of the Lord are more fortunate than the devotees on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Why? The Pandavas could see the back of the Lord and the enemies could see Yahave Krishna Mukhara Vindam Netre Pibasti Nayanavi Rama ho Netra Pibanti. Through the pot of their eyes, they were drinking the nectar of Krishna's Rupa Madhuri. Krishna's form, Krishna's eyes is Nayana. Avirama is a feast for those who have eyes. And they are also fortunate. Why? Partha Astra Bhuta Padam Apurasya. Partha, who is Partha? Arjuna. Astra, arrow, weapon. What does the word Puta mean? Matajis, Prabhujis, what does the word Puta means? Puta. Puta means purity and Na means no. No Puta. So Puta Na means no purity.
No purity.
So
No
Partha,
purity.
Astra, Puta. What would Partha, Astra do? It would go and touch the chest of the enemy. Partha, Astra, Puta. Your tawa is hot and you put 3 drops of water. What happens? Matajis, your non-stick tawa is very hot, and when you put 3 drops of water or sprinkle water, what happens?
It flashes.
Yes,
Splats.
it's like zzz, right? It's just observed.
It just kind of make crackling sound and just kind of splats.
So if they can do, what can do that to your heart? Tawa, what to speak of the tip of the arrow head of the Arjuna's arrow? Ghandiv Dari, Partha, Astra, Puta. It will purify the other person and not just that. Padam, Apurasya, and give him the ticket to Vaikunta. Arjuna by killing purifies and send them to Vaikunta. What to speak of Krishna's killing? And then what to speak of Krishna's embrace? This is Krishna. Krishna is described like the sun. On one side you have urine, and the other side you have pure water, and in the middle you have the sun. So Mataji's question, Prabhuji's question. So the sun purifies water but not urine, correct?
Yes.
He doesn't evaporate the pond of the puddle, the pool of the urine. He doesn't do that because it's a dirty water, right?
Right.
Other Matajis, any comments for this question? Any answer? So the sun purifies water but not urine. Is that correct?
It evaporates, but it makes stains. It evaporates, but there is a stain there.
Yeah. Any other Matajis? Just share your what you think. The sun purifies water but not urine. Is that correct? So, the sun...
Mataji, it can also dry up, but there will be a stain. But with the water, you may not see any stain.
Yeah, the sun does it. Yes, the sun does it. Purifies that place too. So the sun equally treats good water and the puddle of urine. Evaporates them, and here it is pure, no stink. No one knows where the urine has gone. And at the same time, it is not that this urine goes and the streak on the sun. The sun remains pure. The place becomes pure. No stink. And God knows where the urine is. So if the material sun can do this, Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagat Antakoti Kotishva Asesha Vasudhadi Vibhuti Binnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahma Samhita 5.38. So if the eyes of the Lord can do it, what to speak of the Supreme Lord? If the sun can do, material world, sun can do it, what to speak of Sri Krishna? So Krishna, when he kills, he only purifies. Therefore, in the Bhishma Stuti, Krishna is described as Hathaha Kadaha Swarupam. Hathaha Kadaha Swarupam. By killing Krishna, gives them their Swarup. So in this way, Shishupal was also delivered. Now ahead in the story it is described. After Shishupal was destroyed and everything took place, the Rajasuya Yajna was finished very wonderfully. And Yudhishthir Maharaj herein announced as the Vishwa Samrat. He is given the title of Vishwa Samrat. And as he given the title of Vishwa Samrat, there is a very wonderful palace made by Maya Danav, the palace of illusion, that which is not in this palace. It seems like there is a water, but there is no water. As we know, Duryodhana gets confused. I think you heard in Mahabharata stories. He goes to different places, and he feels that, oh yes, there is some water. And he stays carefully, but there is just land. In another place, he thinks, oh, it's just an illusion. Seems like water. He walks and there is a water. So this place was given, and after that, as Yudhishthir Maharaj glory keeps increasing, so does the envy of the Lord. So does the envy of Duryodhana. Duryodhana along with Dushasana, Karna and Shakuni, they start planning what to do now. Shakuni in a very interesting personality in the Mahabharata. We may have seen that Shakuni has these mysterious dice. And for those who have seen in the Mahabharata on TV, all those, I was thinking, even now when I'm seeing like Krishna shooting the Sudarshan Chakra, it's like a Nitish Bharadwaj who's coming to mind, So, and Arun Kovil is the Ram. It's somehow stuck, like that. We always watch that in our childhood days, we watch Mahabharata and Ramayana. Okay, you have our Shakuni Mama who is playing with this dice. And as we know, Duryodhana calls the number of Shakuni, can get it. What is the mystery? What is the magic behind it? Actually speaking, Shakuni is a very shady character in the Mahabharata. He seems to be on the side of Duryodhana, but as it is described, is actually playing to destroy Duryodhana. He is on the side of Duryodhana, playing to destroy him. Now these dice also have an interesting history. The forefathers of Shakuni, they were imprisoned and troubled by this dynasty. They were imprisoned and not given food and water, and this mood, they died in the prison. As a result of which the bones from their body were collected by Shakuni. And in fact, there was so much vacancies, so much regret in their heart. not regret, but so much disappointment and so much grief in their hearts that they started benedicting Shakuni. They said, "We will play to your desire. You make dice out of our bones, and especially our knees, or our feet. Make dice out of our feet, and we will help you in your endeavor." See, Mataji, how it's like a cinema, right? Hearing the story. So interesting, right? Duryodhan will call out different numbers, yeah. And I think this guy, like this one more story in Telugu also. Some movie, I forgot the movie name.
Judam.
No, some movie.
Judam.
Anushka heroine. Movie name Damini, no, some movie. So that movie also like that comes. They made with the bone some weapon. Okay, we'll come to this story. Duryodhan will call out different numbers ahead in the different gambling match, and you help him, and this will destroy him. So we want to take our revenge back, but we will help you as these dice. So Shakuni makes dice out of the bones of his forefathers, and that's why they would cooperate with him in an attempt to destroy Duryodhan. These dice were used in the famously infamous gambling match where the Pandavas lost everything. They lost their kingdom, they lost their money, they lost their very life, they lost their wife Draupadi, and this was the place where Draupadi was disrespected. Duryodhana, Dushashan were the key members, and when Draupadi was lost his gambling match, Duryodhana instructed Dushasana to disrobe her in public. Now this is the point where Bhishma Dev kept quiet. And the most common misunderstanding about Bhishma Dev lies in this part of the puzzle. If Bhishma Dev is very knowledgeable, if he is source of all transcendental knowledge, if he is a Mahajan, why should he keep quiet? He should have spoken up. Why did he just hang his face down? Why did he just hang his face down? Why did he keep quiet? Why did he not stop this? He was the great grandsire. He should have done it. But we should understand, Bhishma Dev is an instrument in the Lord's hand. As we were describing the other day, the father of Jnaneshwar, he walked according to the wish of the Lord, even if that means being misunderstood. Same is the case of Bhishma Dev fighting from the other side of the battle, which we will come to tomorrow. Next session is a finale where we will see Krishna running with the chariot wheel and Bhishma Dev on his departure bed, and things like that. That will be next session discussion. Both these places, Draupadi's disrobing act and Bhishma Dev choosing sides. These are the two places where Bhishma Dev is misunderstood. What is the purpose? What was the Bhishma Dev thinking? In Draupadi's case, if Bhishma Dev had intervened, the world would not have seen and witnessed. What does it mean to surrender? What does it mean to have the shelter of the Lord? Bhishma Dev kept quiet because he knows who Krishna is. He knows what the future is about. If Bhishma Dev could speak about Krishna's personality, and he could speak about Shishupal at great length at the Rajasuya Yajna, he definitely knows Dharma and he knows Niti Shastra, he knows moral conduct, then he must stand up and speak up for this disrobing act. But the fact that he kept quiet is because he took a back seat too, so that Draupadi can helplessly call out Govinda, can helplessly call out to Krishna, and the world can see what happens when a jiva calls out to Krishna helplessly. Now please tell me, how many times do we hear of, or how many times do we hear of unfortunate incidents in this world where Mataji's women are attacked or assaulted? And in so many public places, private places, at night,
Many times.
in the middle of the night, or even in a mass assembly. Sometimes we see in daylight, we see at night, we see in parking lots, we see in marketplace. Now it's become a terror everywhere. Now And we
Right.
have to be so careful having, Prabhuji's wife, having mothers and having daughters, sisters, what to speak of. Even those who are senior citizens. We hear cases of people in the 70s being attacked by people who are animalistic. Manushi Ruperna Mrugaha Charanti. Those who are Doipada Pashu attacking women. How many times do we hear about women being attacked? How many times a day do we hear this? So many times. How many cases have we heard of molestation, of rape? So many cases. Unfortunate, yes, but it happens. But the question is, we hear of all these incidents, but why is it that only Draupadi is quoted in the Srimad Bhagavatam and in the Mahabharata? Why are the other cases not reported? Why is it that the other cases are reported only in the newspaper or in the local television news report? Why is it that only Draupadi is reported on the pages of the Bhagavatam? On the parallel front, so many times we hear elephants being attacked by crocodile. So many times, so many places. It's not that Gajendra's was the only historic case. Many times we see elephants are into water and then the crocodile catches, and then what happens later is, situation specific, but it does happen. But again, my parallel question to that is, how many of those elephants are reported in Shastra? Why only Gajendra? The answer to both these common threads is what happened to Draupadi and what happened to Gajendra is very common, is very ordinary. So, Mataji's, Prabhuji's, why only Gajendra? Why only Draupadi? They are in the Shastra.
Gajendra is a story, devotion, very divine.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he prays to Lord, how much suffering he went through, and how he reminded of how to pray Lord Vishnu. So there is something special about it. When you face with critical situations, people have to call out for God. A lot of women, they're scared to come forward to report. The abuse happens, physical abuse, sexual abuse,
Yes.
emotional abuse, scars.
Yeah.
Emotional abuse
I'm
is
not,
not worse than the physical abuse.
Good, Mataji, thank you. I'm not saying it is justified, it is unfortunate, but it is happening at a rampant scale. What happened to Draupadi and what
Right.
happened to Gajendra is common, but the response to what happened to them was uncommon. But the response to what happened to them was uncommon. What happened to them was ordinary. The response to that was extraordinary. How they respond to that situation made the ordinary into extraordinary. In the eighth habit.
Helpless situation.
What is that, Mataji?
Helpless situation, Mataji.
Yes. In the eighth habit by Stephen Covey.
There's nobody. Yes. What I see is she requested everybody to help her out. She begged everybody. She did. And her husbands are helpless. The only thing that she has a source is Govinda.
Yes,
and
Mataji.
That's the only one she could cry.
You are correct. 100% correct. So in the eighth habit by Stephen Covey, he gives the 1000 principle. For those who have read it, it was very beautiful principle. He makes this point that what happened to us is 10% of the story. And how we respond to that situation is the 90% of the story. What happened to Draupadi, what happened to Gajendra was ordinary. Their calling out of Krishna made the situation extraordinary. So which means situations that comes to us or prarabdha or our karma or ordinary situation, but how we can make that extraordinary and make advancement is by calling out to Krishna in those circumstances. Krishna appears when devotees call out desperately. When Krishna appeared, he could have appeared in a palace. He could have appeared during Brahma Muhurta. He could have appeared with a lot of celebration. Brahma was chanting mantras with classical song and classical dance, and Supreme Lord is appearing. So he could have come into this world in that way. Why did he agree to appear in the middle of the night in a prison house in Mathura? Mataji's. Why did he agree to appear in the middle of the night in a prison house in Mathura?
Who, Lord Krishna?
Yeah.
Because he promised them before how he wants to help them out, but just he gave a boon in the past, but then he wants to remind them, look, I am in the form of Vishnu, then I will become a child, and so there is something that he is reminding them in the middle of the night so that nobody can see it.
And astrologically speaking, that time was very inauspicious. But Shukadev Goswami in the Bhagavatam, he says, Kalaha Parama Shubhana. Oh, the time was supremely auspicious. Why? What got Krishna in that prison house in the middle of the night was not Krishna's own desire, but it was pulled by the helpless call of Devaki Vasudev. Krishna was invoked. Krishna was desperately forced to appear there. Where there are tears and desperation, helplessness, that's where Krishna appears. Krishna was invoked. Krishna was desperately forced to appear there where there are tears. See, Mataji, when we chant, sure we will, when we do chant desperately, we can call Krishna. Helplessness. That's where Krishna appears. Why in the middle of the night? Because in the middle of the night, there is no light. When we feel that there is some ray of hope, that there is represented by light. But when it's pitch dark in the middle of the night, which means we have no hope. The place when we think we have no hope, apart from taking shelter of Krishna, I don't have plan B. Bhayam tvidya bhiniveshi tasyar ishadhapedasya vibaryaswa mritihi. When we have vidya, a vinivesh, which means plan B, that's where there is bhaya, shoka, moha, everything. But when we understand there is only one plan, what is there? Plan yes. What is that plan yes? We have no plan B. What is the plan yes? Surrender.
Surrender.
Plan yes is surrender, shelter, saranagati. As devotee says, what is surrender? It is keeping our sar under Krishna's feet. Surrender. Bhagavan ki shelter pana. Having our shar under Krishna's feet is surrender. As Chaitanya Charan Prabhu calls it very nicely. He says, to understand Krishna, we must stand under Krishna. Only when we stand under Krishna can we understand him. He has this Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has this, something that he's like a really gifted in. Once when devotee was driving Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and he asked Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, can you speak in Hindi? Can you speak in Marathi? How many languages do you know? Do you preach in? He said, I can speak, but he said, I can walk in Hindi, but I can run in Marathi. But as far as English is concerned, I can dance. Sharanagati. Shat Vidha. Sharanagati. So, Gauranga Prabhu will take this principle in, flavor the sky as they say. Make it so flavorful, so colorful. Devaki and Vasudev called out desperately. The night sky represents hopelessness, helplessness, desperate feeling. In a prison house represent I am stuck. Hey Bhagavan, apart from you, I have no one. And that too, Krishna appears as Ashtami Tithi. Now Ashtami is the midway path. It's not Purnima, it's not Amavasya. So Krishna doesn't like fanatic approach also. He doesn't like being too liberal and he doesn't like being too fanatical. Ashtami Tithi, being practical and realistic. So wherever Krishna has invoked with faith and called out, that is where Krishna appears. That is Janma Ashtami. Hare Krishna Mataji. I'm going to stop here.
Yeah.
Any
Yes. Then master.
questions? Any
Then
comments?
master.
Yes.
Very nice, Mataji.
Very nice, Mataji. Nice. When Naginda Kanya Mataji are gone. She is not here. Shani Mataji.
She wanted to say something?
Do you have anything to say, Mataji?
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm taking it all in.
Krishnashtami.
Good.
I thought you said why did why were those two stories told about the women being attacked?
Yeah.
And my thought was maybe they just wanted to acknowledge, and you can't tell all the stories, right? You have to tell at least one to acknowledge that it's something that happened. And if this is happening to you, then you pray to Krishna. That was my original thought when, I heard the story. When you asked the question of why those stories and not other stories.
Yeah. Actually, they are saying naturally it happens for everyone. That's that common. It's very common, they said. But how to react? So 90% is react. How to react that situation. So that situation, Gajendra and Draupadi took a different way. They desperately call out Krishna. Others not why they didn't come means maybe they did not call desperately to Krishna. They did not surrender to Krishna. Yeah. So I'm thinking that way. What about Suna Mataji?
Mataji, it's a belief. With situational circumstances depends upon pressures, environmental issues, who are the support systems. When you're helpless, when nobody is there, the Lord is the only one you have to believe in and trust, and somehow He will help you.
But still,
but in the world like we are living, nobody acknowledges. If the women come forward and say, I got hurt and I was beaten up, I was raped, and you know what? Oh, really? Did it happen? How much you can prove it? Then finally say, oh, there's not much proof, so you cut out.
Yes, yeah. It's lot of we heard
so
this also.
The voice.
Whoever coming forward also,
who
they
is
won't
going
believe.
To trust you? Who is going to help you?
Yes.
Correct. So that let's talk about our own culture. Yes. People are spoken, unspoken, abuse happens. It's not even reported. It's not even in own family would not agree and they would not believe you. So that means the woman has no other help except kill herself.
Yes.
And this is happening still.
Yes.
So that means we are still in the bottom of the list on how women can be recognized and get help. So the only help I can think of is, you believe in God and somehow He's going to help you.
Yes.
But then how many people going to really practice that?
Yes.
I mean, the women are in relationship because of some physical or because of the financial issues, because of the kids, because of no other option, have to shut her mouth and live.
Yeah.
But then the world is not like that. You can come forward, be assertive, have divine nature in your life and be assertive and strong.
Yes.
Get shadow for yourself, work hard, have financial support and emotional support. But even educated people are trapped into all kinds of abuse. Mm-hmm. This is a big chapter, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mataji.
And it's still happening.
Yes, Mataji.
And and also nobody likes to talk about it, but the same thing happens to men.
Yes, Mataji.
To little boys.
Yeah.
I know someone, this was happening to them when they were a little boy, and when they got bigger and they told the family stopped talking to him because the person that did it was also in the family, and so nobody wanted to acknowledge that this happened, this ugly truth,
Mm-hmm.
So it was easier for them to just cut him out of the family, because even though he was the victim, he was the problem because he was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that ruined his life. Because how do you live with...
It happens a lot.
Yes, it happens.
Yeah.
I heard a lot.
The person who really want to help has to hear clearly and help unconditionally, and then you have to do that. But how many people are like that? Oh, let's just zip our mouths. Don't say anything.
Yes.
That's not worth it, because the whole family is going to be ruined and they're going to be outcasted.
Yes.
So there's a lot's happening. And especially women are not educated and they don't know how to defend themselves, or the bottom of the list and get abused, and their outcome is they just take pills and kill themselves, or jump into the well and burn themselves. And then even educated ones are humiliated and tortured, and the end result is they end their life.
Yes, Mataji.
It's still happening.
So wherever Krishna has...
Exactly. I mean, but then they have to have a belief in it. But then if you need an immediate reaction, you need to have some support system.
Yes.
There's a law, there's a court, there's a lawyers. You have to be assertive enough to get out of the situation and get help. But they are afraid of getting help because they may be killed overnight.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of stuff happen.
Yeah, I think also in those moments, when it is actually happening, because I know I have a lot of guy friends, their immediate response is, I would punch him in the face, or I would kick his ass. But, I'm kind of like, for women, first of all, you don't know how crazy men are willing to get. That's the first thing. And the second thing, I feel like, our faith is also our currency, and you don't want to, get scars on your face, because when women are scarred on their face, then you have to live with the scar of the tragic thing that happened, literally in your mind, but then on your face. When men have a scar on their face, everybody thinks they look better. He looks so tough and strong, and it's not the same. It's not the same. So it's a very deep topic. There's so many layers.
Yes, Mother.
Yes, that makes it hard for women to just fight sometimes.
We will discuss in the next session, because
but
this
the
is
problem
the topic continues.
Right. The problem here is, again, women will put down the woman. Okay.
Yes. I know so many women like this.
Yes.
Too. They're always defending the men that do it.
The biggest issue that I still see in our own culture, when the girl gets into trouble and go to the parents and for help, and the parents will say, oh, maybe you need to change. Go back and work hard to change the situation. You know what? And then what happens? She tries to do and nothing happens, and they say, okay, nobody's going to help me. So the best thing is I end my life. This is still happening.
Yeah.
Very sad. No. So the whole thing is the biggest chapter in the world, still has to evolve and understand and help each other and go for help. And then the other thing that I need to tell, the women needs to be assertive. Sometimes they say, oh, I have no education, I have no money, nobody's going to help me, I can't serve. That's not what it is. You can still rise up, you can still get help for yourself. The most important thing, your safety net, spiritual health, social health, support system. It's still available. You trust yourself. Your instinct will tell you what is good for you.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't know how to get those things, and sometimes people don't have support systems at all. And it's sad that, culturally, that's where we are in the whole world now, not just, here or there. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes if you're very young, like I left home when I was very, very, very young. My mother moved every year. So there was no teacher or guidance counselor, anybody that took me under their wing. I kind of just fell through the cracks. And when I left home, I was so young, I just didn't know how to get help or where to, go get help. I just didn't know. And there was nobody to help,
Mm-hmm.
So that's in America. I can't even imagine in like a small tribal village somewhere,
Right. But now there is a 1-800 number for any crisis situation. They'll be online 24 hours.
But sometimes if it's not like a full-blown crisis, nobody helps you. Like what, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes there's clearly defined terms in what they consider is a crisis to them. Sometimes we're extreme. Well, I mean, for me, being a teenage runaway is a crisis. That was definitely a crisis. But,
Sure.
If you're not bleeding and bloody and beat up, sometimes people don't help you. So, it depends on what you consider a crisis,
Correct. But again, now the situation changed a lot. People are much more alert and vibrant about what is abuse is.
Yeah, it's true. There's more definitions of abuse, and there's also more definitions of sexual assault and rape. Because before,
Correct.
if it wasn't, if you weren't violently raped, nobody wanted to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was
Exactly.
Yes.
And then the next thing they say, well, you put yourself into the situation, so that's your problem. That's what they say.
And
I heard all
then
this
here, like in America, they teach all the young girls to, it's my body, I can wear whatever I want. And then when something happens, everybody says it's your fault. Look at what you were wearing.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, Mataji.
System has changed. Before in even Indian culture, a woman goes to the court and requests the judge want to get out of the relationship. You know what the judge would say? No, go back and try to do, work around the situation. Come back in 6 months to revisit the case. By the time that girl may be killed.
And, in America, I don't know if you know this, but, when the only time when you're trying to get a divorce, they don't give you a lawyer. You have to pay for one. So if you kill your husband, they'll give you a criminal attorney. But if you just want a divorce, because you hear them talking about all this stuff and you think it's for everybody. But if you don't have money to hire a lawyer, you just kind of don't know what to do. And so when you hear about all these laws and rights in America, they're really only talking about people who have money. The people who don't have money don't have access. So it's really crazy because you could kill your husband and they'll give you a lawyer, but if you want to divorce him, they won't help you. So if he has
that's a sad situation.
Yeah,
but I think they recently opened up with the domestic violence issue. They have free liars advocacy program. I don't know whether they changed or not. There is one thing: the helpless situation, no money, nothing. I fully understand.
A lot of those situations, again, fall back onto the boundary of what they consider to be domestic violence. So, if you're being beaten by your husband, that's obvious, and then people will help you. But he could be doing a whole bunch of other abusive things to you and not putting his hands directly on you. But because there isn't that visual proof, then people won't help you, and you're still stuck and you're still back in the same situation. So again, when, you hear on TV and, in the laws of America, and everybody has the right to an attorney, like you hear it in court TV shows all the time, you have the right to a criminal attorney if you commit a crime. But if you just want to...
Absolutely, 100% right on that. Just square one. So
it's pretty crazy.
It is. It's a very, very sad situation, but what can we do? Again, we still have to fight.
Yep.
Protect your kids and protect your environment, protect yourself. Number one comes.
Yes.
Yes, sure. Mataji, our side, Krishna is there. We can fight with
Correct.
We can keep Krishna our side and we can fight. He'll help you.
Right.
How to face the problem. How to cross that.
Exactly.
How to, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about the heroic.
Krishna.
Think about the heroic woman in spiritual world. Think about the heroic woman in spiritual world.
Yeah. That's why these stories are important.
Shani Mataji, we couldn't
Also
hear
for
you.
young people to hear, those things to fall back on. Is it falling out, the volume?
Yeah, good, good.
Okay, sorry. Anyway.
Oh,
All right.
this is a big topic to even talk about this.